So it looks like we got some mail day here. Something from Chris Crothers. Okay. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Looks like we got some Flubberstuffers and some Dad's Root Beer. SlymeBallz. That's awesome. So these Flubberstuffer SlymeBallz, Flubberstuffers who makes them, SlymeBallz is what this product is called. These are the version 3 TKs for Trail Kings, Type S. They are for the 28.5 millimeter inner ring on the wheels. They also have a Type T, which is for the 31 inner wheel ring dimension. Now, just so we know, this width here is 19 millimeters as well, so just make sure your tires are no thinner or narrow than the 19 millimeters. For all other tires, their other versions are 14.4 millimeters. They do have 3 other versions, a version 1, 2, and 3, and again, those will work for almost all other tires as they're 14.4 millimeters wide. Trail Kings are the only ones that are 19 millimeters for now, so these are going to work great for that. These things are going to end up going into these things, which are the Trail King MTs. They're specifically made for the Trail King. The version 3 is. There's also a version 1 and a version 2, but these are actually the first version that are kind of dual. They have dual rate, I guess, because they've got the extra ring in the center. All the other versions are just a single slot, I guess, a single ring, inner ring, and an outer ring, and that's it. This has 3 rings, inner, middle, and outer. So you're going to get kind of a different rate of compression on the tire. So this is the first time looking at this type of setup. And what's interesting that I noticed is when you roll them, they kind of bunch up. So I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. And I'm pretty sure these are directional, so you got to make sure you put them in the right way. But yeah, they almost bunch up, and that could be a good thing. Maybe it's like it helps grab a little. I'm not sure. But again, the point of these is to allow for your flex or your squish on the tire, your deforming on the front of the tire, on the actual tread, while maintaining rigidity on the sidewalls, so that you can sidewall without it, completely deforming on the sidewall. So this is you can see I'm pushing down on here, and it is not deforming at all, Whereas if you had just an empty tire, here, let's go ahead and open these guys up. So like I was saying, if you have an empty tire, you're going to have sidewall deforming, right? It's gonna deform as you're sidewalling. But with these, you're not going to get that as much because you're maintaining. I know it looks like it. This is not on the rim, but if you're maintaining the rim here, they're not going to deform, especially when they're inside the tire, right? There's a lot less of that sidewall deformation. Is that a word? So this should help a lot with that. Pretty excited. It's going to be much better than these foams. Should be better than no foams, because again, well, without foams, these things are just floppy. I mean, it's so floppy, it's ridiculous, obviously, because they're big sidewalls and they're kind of fat tires, so there's not a lot of rigidity holding it together. With these in here, should help quite a bit. So we still have the deforming tread, right? Where we want it to deform as you're going over a rock. But you're going to maintain sidewall rigidity. Wow, a lot. And again, once we get the rim in there, it's going to even be more rigid on the sidewall, while maintaining the ability to deform and flex and wrap around rocks on the outside here on the tread. We also have another set of this style of wheel or tire inners. So we're gonna have to compare those and review them side by side, just to kind of show you what that's about. These guys have been doing this for a little bit. Like I said, this is on version 3. I think these are the most kind of professionally made, professionally produced, marketed, whatnot. Either way, they've just been around the longest, I think, so far. If I'm not right on that, correct me in the comments below and let me know who else is doing this style of filler. But I'm pretty sure Flubberstufferz has been doing the SlymeBallz for a while here. A lot of people also you can just 3D print a version of these yourself, but these seem really quality. So, you know, they're 3D printed as well, but they definitely have some good quality to them. They feel professionally manufactured. If it didn't have the little tiny print lines, you wouldn't know. But yeah, they're good. They seem quality so far. We'll just have to see how they perform. So the foams out of these tires really are just to help fill them out. They don't give you any sidewall rigidity. You know, they give you just enough to make sure that the tires don't just completely deform, right? And again, some people run no foams, and no foams are good on the right size tires, the right material of tires. But some tires are just so soft that no foams really just kind of, you're not going to be able to sidewall at all. You may be able to go straight, but as soon as you have to turn, they're just going to fold and flop over. As soon as you have to go, you know, sideways on a angle, you're not going to be able to hold, and you're just going to roll. They're not ideal, right? The foams, they're going to help a little bit of that rigidity, but you're going to get the same effect, right? You might be able to sidewall a little better. It might hurt your climbing just a tiny bit because you're not deforming over the rocks as much, but they're also not ideal. A lot of people will cut the foams. I've shown another video where we cut the foams to kind of make them still side to side rigid, but less rigid on the tread. Basically trying to achieve what this does. But this kind of gives you the ideal setup, right? Plenty of deformity on the tread while maintaining your ability to sidewall, and crawl at an angle. And even when you're turning, trying to go up a rock and trying to hug around the rock, it's going to hold here versus just folding in and sliding down, right? If you're trying to climb up a rock and you start to turn and try to hook yourself, it's not gonna stay very well, and you probably just slide off because of the deforming in the tire. At least having some rigidity, and it's also more predictable, right? It's gonna be a lot more predictable. The no foams are, you know, actually running no foam is gonna make your driving a lot less predictable, a lot harder to control. You may have some advantages that you can, you know, take advantage of, obviously, but it's gonna be a lot harder to handle that. And in some situations, it's just gonna be a lot worse. And then the foams, they get you closer to better consistency, but they're still just not there. And if you modify the foams, you get even closer. But like I said, I think this method, this style is probably gonna be ideal, even if it's not specifically the SlymeBall from Flubberstufferz. That design in general is kind of what you're looking for. So after looking on the Flubberstufferz website, just to make sure, they are suggesting the direction of the tire is this way, kind of like they're grabbing in. And what I've noticed is that gives actually the most amount of kind of, it puts the deforming, or I don't even know what to call that, but like, you can see how it kind of bunches up. It puts that in the back, making the front kind of smooth, I guess. Your rear is going to have more of the bunching if you're going this direction versus this direction. It's crazy, you can hear it like snapping. And it's awesome. I mean, again, this two-stage setup, you've got really flexible first stage, and then the second stage is a little bit more stiff. And again, it's giving even more rigidity to the sidewalls. But yes, they are directional. So when you put them in your tires, if your tires aren't directional, you need to remember which direction your SlymeBallz are going. Because if you put them in backwards, you might have some weird sort of effects, because again, they do deform in kind of a weird way. You can see this part right here. Okay, so again, the direction they suggest is this way. So I just want to go over what Flubberstuffer offers from the SlymeBall line. There are three versions. Version 1, which is for 47 to 51 millimeter tires. Now that's the outer diameter, 47 to 51 millimeters. And then version 2 is going to be 52 to 56 millimeters. And then version 3 is for the 57 to 64 millimeters, which are these Trail Kings. And then there's two different inner diameter rings. The Type T, which is 31 millimeters. Again, that's this here. And then the Type S, which is 28.5 millimeters. And all versions 1, 2, and 3, with the exception of the Trail King, are 14.4 millimeters wide, with the Trail King version being 19 millimeters. So they also, if you have something like a wider tire or maybe even a thinner tire, they do offer a custom option where you can order off their website custom widths. Now, I don't know if they can change the diameters or anything like that, I'm sure they could if they wanted to, but I believe their custom is specifically for different size widths. But you know, you can always reach out if you're looking for something totally custom. Maybe you got a monster truck, you want some really huge ones, something crazy like that. I'm sure they can accommodate. The slime balls are made of a proprietary hybrid material. Flubberstufferz has been printing for a long time, and they've kind of come up with their own formula for the, you know, the rubbery, squishy, yet still very firm material, and it's definitely unique. So with all that said, I know that was kind of a lot. Let's go ahead and check them out in action. So this is the Trail King MT with just the stock foams. So, as expected, they flex quite a bit. Remember, this rig isn't even that heavy, so if the rig was heavier, it would make even more issue. But you can see how much they deform on the sidewalls. No foams would cause that even more, so you'd have very bad side hilling with no foams on these. But even with the foams, they're pretty flexy. So just be aware. Looks like 38 to 39, I guess, degree. 38 to 39 degrees looks about where it was at. So we've added the 19 grams of weight to the foam inserts on the Trail Kings. Let us see how much of a difference that makes. Oh man, yeah. See, now it's a little bit top heavy, and 37, 38, 37, 38 with the extra weight. That just goes to show how much weight can change things. All right, these are the Trail King MTs with the Flubberstufferz version 3. So it looks about 41 to 40 degrees. The Trail Kings with stock foam are going to be obviously very different than the Trail Kings with the Flubberstufferz. So we're actually going to put an extra 19 grams of weight on this, just to simulate something that might have a little bit of extra weight on it, versus just being completely stock, because again, this truck is completely stock other than the wheels, tires, and the inserts. We've used the stock battery just to keep it consistent. So we're gonna put a little bit of weight in there though, so that we can use the same weight on other trucks. We'll try to always put it in the same spot, but yeah. So again, this is with an extra 19 grams of weight on the front.
can see there's quite a bit of deforming going on in these with the foams, especially on the sidewalls, right? Like I'm kind of just pushing a little bit. Quite a bit. A lot of folding, like folds over itself. And these are just foam. And again, this rig's not heavy, so you can't really see it when you're just driving it. But I mean, as soon as you start to put just a little bit of weight on it, you can see it kind of deform down. And if you're sidewalling, it changes quite a bit. And with the Flubberstuffers, you can see there's a little bit more rigidity on the sidewall. You still get the good deformity when you're pushing down or, you know, trying to wrap around a rock. You still get that, but when you start to sidewall, you can see it's a lot more stiff. A lot more stiff. I'm trying to like get it to deform out to the side like I did on the foams, and you can't. You can even hear I'm scraping it across the rock. Like it's keeping its rigidity on the sidewalls very well. I mean, other than this little tiny bit right here, you know, this little tiny bit, you pretty much have a full sidewall. Which is good. That's what you want. You want it to be able to wrap around as you're going straight on. You're trying to get that grip, get it to wrap around the top of the rock. But then you want to make sure that when you're side hilling, you got some rigidity and stiffness. And this is definitely doing that. It's the back with the original foam in there. Look at that. Huge difference, right? I think you get the point. So I know it was a little bit long, but hopefully the demonstrations kind of showed you the difference between the two. It was about a degree or two, really. That's going to be a huge difference when you start to add weight onto the rig. You're going to see a much greater difference. And maybe I should have done the video with a heavier rig, but I like to try to show based on stock. So it does make a stock more capable. So it's definitely a worthwhile upgrade in my opinion. And again, the heavier your rig, the better performance you're going to see from the Flubberstuffers. That said, we got some cool footage coming up out at Red Rocks with the Flubberstuffers, and I'll roll that at the end after this. If you enjoyed what you're seeing, got good information out of it, or just want to be awesome, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share the video, and yeah, we hope you go out and get some Flubberstuffers. They're pretty awesome. So check out this awesome B-roll footage at Red Rocks. Trail King MTs with the Flubberstuffers. Now remember, this doesn't have a lot of weight on it, so.
You like that thing, Kyle?
Yeah.
She goes, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a good little.
So remember, this doesn't have a lot of weight on it. It's completely stock. And we still got good deformity.
Thanks.
Yeah, very, very nice. That's a good idea, putting a Jeep on the back.
Well, that's all scratch.
I love the colors, man. That's a scratch.
Yeah, that's all scratch. That's not putting a body on it.
Yeah, that's what we thought you said at first.
Built that from the ground.
Did you?
Yeah.
What is it? I mean, is it along your chassis, or did you just lump it?
No, I just put deadbolt rears front wheel.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we can't. Oh, you are.
Oh, look at this. I broke the shock.
What is that?
A beadlock screw from a 10 scale.
I thought I like that Jeep style. Good. Pretty good, man.
Well, goddamn.
So you can see the rigidness that the Flubberstuffers provide when you're side hilling. And there's no weight on this thing at all.
As it falls off the.
There's some good. Let's put it on a. You can see it. If we had a little bit of weight, then you maintain your sidewall pretty good.
Ah.
Buddy. Sick.
Where there's a will, there's a way, bud.
Ooh, hold on. I wish there was better light in there. Go ahead.
It's gonna go. It's gonna start crawling off. There it goes.
Nice. Dude, stock ones are so capable.